Scarlet and Violet top picks. How's it going, everybody? Daggerito here. I'm going to be going over a lot of my top picks for Scarlet and Violet thus far. We're about the halfway point in 2024, about the halfway point in Scarlet and Violet, and it's going to be a little bit of a mixture. Some somewhat obvious picks, some underrated picks, and I think some sleepers that could have the potential to see significant gains over the course of the next year or two, give or take. So let's hop right into it. All right, starting up first, we got the Magikarp IR. So this card, super beautiful. This thing has been hyped to the moon and back. I think for me personally right now, where it's sitting at about 115 median price, about 110 market price. We have some listings that have been sold for about 100, 110, give or take. And me personally, I feel like the card is a bit overhyped right now. I think there will be another Paldea Evolved reprint. Right now, booster boxes are going up a bit. There's a lot of investor, I think, attention on this particular card right now. However, I think once the reprint hits, we should see a retrace back to its original price of about $65, maybe the $70 range, maybe $75. I think at that point it'd be a really good pickup. I personally have one of these at the moment. However, I think I'm gonna let it go right now while things are a bit up, and then once the reprint happens, maybe pick up a copy or two, and maybe hopefully get one that's PSA 10 worthy. Up next, we got the Mew, Shiny Mew EX, also known as the Shiny Bubble Mew. For me personally, this has to be one of the most unique cards in the set right now. The art on it is just so beautiful. You have like a Bellsprout in the background, a Poliwag, a cute Rattata. Like, I absolutely adore this card as a Pokemon fan from Gen 1 days. And so I could really see this card easily being a $400 or $500 card once Scarlet and Violet is no longer in print and we're on to the next set in like 2025, right? Alrighty, so up next, let's look at the obvious choice for Scarlet and Violet, the Charizard EX SIR. So this particular card, absolutely beautiful. Colors are beautiful. It's a Charizard. Clearly, people are going to be seeking after this card. It's the card that you want to pull when you're opening packs of 151, unless you're a Blastoise or Venusaur fan. Totally valid. So currently sitting at about 110, give or take, 115 for a near mint copy. This is just the easiest pickup you could ever think of, right? You got the 151 reimagined set, right? And right now, you know, it's not the sexiest choice when it comes to investment picks. A lot of people are looking at Sword and Shield. There are a couple movements happening in the Scarlet and Violet era as well. However, I think long term, this is probably going to be the easiest gainer in the Scarlet and Violet block. So me personally, you know, if I were looking to kind of park my dineros anywhere, the very first place would probably be the 151 Charizard. Here is somewhat of a sleeper choice for those of you who aren't trying to always chase after, you know, the most hyped cards in this set. Charizard Full Art. So this is actually my personal favorite. I own several copies of the Full Art Charizard. I think it displays its personality way better. you get to see the entire body in its entire glory. I mean, the pose is so powerful, the facial expression so powerful, the colors pop so hard. Honestly, this style of full arts has to be my favorite full art rendition that I've seen thus far when looking back at all the previous styles for full art cards. And rightfully so. I mean, this card is fetching for about $35 on average, and I could easily see this being a $100 card in the near future, no problem. And me personally, I would pick this every day of the week when it comes to parking some dineros into my binder. Right, up next, Tyranitar. So right now, Groudon and Tyranitar seem to be doing exceptionally well. I do think it's a bit overhyped. I don't think these values are particularly justified right now, since we are well within range of getting a reprint for these blocks. So yeah, coming out of Paldea Evolved, absolutely beautiful illustration, super powerful pose for Tyranitar. There are a lot of Tyranitar enjoyers in the community, and I honestly could see this card doing very well in the long term. However, right now with an imminent reprint on the horizon, I feel like this card is way overhyped at $45. I think, until the set is completely out of print, I would max probably want to pay $20, $25 for this particular card. If there is a reprint and you can get it at that price, highly recommend adding a couple to your binder for the long term. And honestly, I mean, it's just a sick card, A little coffee break. Also, if you don't already know, we just opened a shop in Stone Mountain, Georgia at Charlie's Collectible Show. If you want to come see me in person on Saturdays, I'll be there opening packs and helping customers figure out all their collectible needs for some Pokemon cards and what have you. So this is a bit of a sleeper choice for me personally. I don't know in terms of what the potential investment capabilities or potential, I should say, this card has for the long term. But God, I mean, they have been crushing the full arts for the Scarlet and Violet block. For me, Garchomp EX full art is so much better of a card than the secret illustration, right? I know it is statistically easier to pull this card. However, I mean, this has to be one of the most beautiful Garchomp cards we've gotten almost ever, right? I know we had one with Cynthia in Sword and Shield. However, man, it just pops, It just really, really hits for me. And I could easily see this becoming a $25 card within a year. So pentupling, it's $5. Pentupling, if I were to get, like, say, 20 copies of this card and potentially pentupling or even doubling or tripling, I don't think that's too shabby of an idea personally. Maybe even a couple graded copies to diversify the holdings, but I would easily fill up an entire page of my binder with this card. No problem. I've already got a couple, but I haven't really come across this in the wild for me to pick up some near mint copies for myself. Next, we have Eevee. So this is probably as easy of a choice of a pickup as the SIR Charizard. I mean, do I really have to say anymore? It's Eevee. You know what I mean? At $42, probably a bit overpriced. I would ideally like this to be a $20 card for me to pick a few up. If not, maybe fill out an entire binder page for it. 42 does seem a bit high. So hopefully it comes back down into the 20s, maybe $18, something like that. I think that would be the perfect Perfect price point to pick up this card at. All right. And last up, we have Chansey. Okay, so Chansey, I feel is probably the most slept on card in Twilight Masquerade. I mean, you've got the O-Phase Chansey in there. You've got the confused Psyduck. You've got this like little tiny Ditto in the corner, just like watching it unfold. Of course, you have the sleeping Snorlax in the background. You've got this cute Blissey and a Bellsprout kind of just hanging out as it watches Chansey about to tumble over. So for me personally, when it comes to investability, I have no idea how the general Pokemon community is going to react or how they're going to perceive this card long term. Me personally, as a fan, I absolutely adore this card. I'm probably going to get a couple pages worth. I mean, the price point for me seems very reasonable. It was actually a bit lower. It was sitting in the tens, like $10 to $11 range. It is starting to pick up, which is kind of strange. A couple weeks after a set has released. So I think more and more people are starting to appreciate this card. And I think it has just a lot of room to grow. I could easily see this being a $50 card. If I could pick up 10 of these for like $10 a pop, and it becomes a $50 card, which I totally see this being. Even $40 card, I could see that, no problem. I would be super happy with that, and I would feel kind of bad letting some of those go. I would honestly probably even gift it. I think this makes like a wonderful gift idea as well, and probably looks amazing in a slab as well. So far, this is probably one of my favorites alongside the full art Charizard that we were looking at earlier and the shiny Bubble Mew. Those for me are probably my personal picks for what I would be picking up every time I saw it, as long as the budget allows for it. And probably this full art Garchomp. The full art Garchomp is probably a degen move and more of like a fan based motive. That's definitely my bias. I don't think this is going to be more than a $10 or $15 card realistically, but my opinion is only but a small drop in the bucket in terms of the entire community. All right, guys, if you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around. Those are my top Scarlet and Violet picks thus far. I hope you guys find it useful. If you did, consider sticking around longer. We'll be posting more videos here shortly in the future. I've been Daggerito, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Cheers.